Good day, gentlemen. Hope you're all doing well. So recently we had an update come out for TF2, but when you look at it, you might think, oh, there's not really that much there. However, sometimes we do get updates like this, but not everything is documented in the TF2 blog. And what we can do is if we go over to Team Fortress Wiki, as we can see right here, you might notice that they also keep track of the updates. But what they also do, and this is something I've recently found out, is they actually point out all the undocumented things. So, yep, that's all that we saw on the blog. But here's a whole bunch of very useful information that's just been told to us. And you might think, well, what's so special? Some names have been changed for hats? That's not that interesting. Well, you're not thinking in terms of the mechanics of the Steam market, because when we see a name change happen for hats, if they are marketable hats, that leads to new, or rather, what's the best way of putting this? The newly named hats become a completely unique entity. That's probably the best way of saying it. And we'll give you examples in a second. So as you can see here, we've got a whole bunch of hats. But the main thing that we're concerned about is the free marketable cosmetics right here. And we're now going to discuss the point of this video. Basically, whenever we see something like this happen, you've got to jump in and make a move with buy orders. And what do I mean? Well, let's start talking. So, for example, we have the Steam market right here, and I could just type in outer. And what do I see with my eyes? So hang on a minute. There's two outer sights. And now you understand what I was talking about. So let's just look at the old one, and then we'll look at the new one afterwards. So the old one, this is a gunmetal cosmetics, been around for a very long time, and as you can see, over time it's had many sales, loads of history, but very recently it obviously had its name change, and well, what do we see here? We see many listings still here, but here's the thing, if one of the sellers here were to remove their listing and then list it again, guess what? It then turns into this instead. It will turn into an outer sight without the apostrophe. Yes, with that ever so slight different change with the outer sight with an apostrophe, but then they removed it, so it's now made a unique new entity. Yeah, that's basically it. We now have something that didn't even have any buy orders. I personally jumped in. I was the first person to put a buy order down. I put 55 pennies in my currency, which is, well, almost 70 cents. But the main reason I did that is because I looked at the history of the outer site. I looked at the recent history in terms of sales, the worst price it was before, the best price it was here. And then I realized maybe 55 pennies my currency would be perfectly fine. And lo and behold, I actually did buy one. So if I could just scroll up to here, yeah, I put down a 55 quantity buy order, and yeah, I actually bought one. So I could sell that instantly for a nice little profit. Very nice, very cool. So the main thing that I'm trying to get across is, when you see a change like this happen, you need to quickly make the change in the URL. So basically, you might notice that we have the URL right here. But what you could do is, if you understand that %27 would be the apostrophe, if I just delete that and enter, there we go. Now, what I also believe is, if you were to just delete the %20, that space, you could just put in outer apostrophe, and it will show you the old one. But if we just removed it, then yeah, vice versa. Because if you're going to use the likes of Firefox, for example, so yes, if I just go over to here, and if I type in on here, we just want to show you this as a nice example. Yep. You can easily just edit it. So URL editing is how you're going to do it. And yes, do you see how it doesn't have all the code? So yeah, some browsers behave differently, but if I remove that and then paste, there we go. It's as simple as that, a simple change. So this is something they would have to do for every single cosmetic that had a change, and you get the idea. But the other main thing that we've got to be aware of is, well, as we can see here, we've got this. If it didn't appear, you could already get the strange one prepared for, the link to the strange one. So, of course, there you go, the new strange outer site. And wouldn't you believe it, I was one of the early people to put a buy order down for it. Next to nobody has a buy order. I was the first person to do it. I did buy one. That's my listing right there. Very nice, very cool. But yep, as we can see, strange outer site with the apostrophe, the old one, and straight outer site, the one without the apostrophe, the new one. So what I did was I just learned from the past, got a good idea of what the general price is for this, got a good idea based on what I could see here. Yeah, it's very easy to see that this has a reasonable amount of demand. It's at a certain price where, well, if I just show you it in dollars, you'd probably get the idea. Yeah, cheapest, highest buy order is $2.50, and these, they're going up to $3. So I put down a fairly reasonable buy order, and I picked one up, and yeah, everything worked out all right. And I was the only person with a buy order for a good couple days. And because of that, if that sells, I've made a very decent amount of profit. Now, that's just one hat. But over time, think about this. In terms of buy order priority, I will be picking these up if they're very cheap. And of course, you've got to think about the likes of the upcoming summer. And in the future, we also have the likes of Halloween and Christmas. People will be unboxing cases when they feel the time is right, aka when there's limited time holiday event, unusual effects. You get the idea. So, but then, of course, it's not just strange. You could also put down unusual. Yes. And, well, there you go. Unusual, out of sight, the new one. So, yeah, I was one of few people that, of course, jumped in. You get the idea now. You understand what I'm talking about. You can edit in everything. But see here, this is the original. And you can see how many buy orders it has. You can see in its history, it's always held up fairly strong. This is a hat that tends to sell for at least around $50. And yep, the buy order's going all the way up to 48. So loads of buy orders here compared to the brand new one, which has hardly any. And if you can remember what I was trying to tell you, basically, once all of these have disappeared, this whole page will eventually just like vanish, like gone, because it's no longer in use. If all three of these people were to remove their listing and then list it again, it would then become the new one, the new outer site. Does that make sense? So this is going to get phased out. The old named one will be phased out, and of course everything will phase into the new one. So yeah, I've just taught you about how to look for it. I've taught you how to do a nice URL edit to be able to, make the change. And yeah, so maybe the easier ones to show off would be the likes of Train of Thought. So Train of Thought used to be with the with the big O. So here we are. Let's just show you proof of that. It's been around for a long time, quite a lot of sales. But if I'm aware that there's been a change, and it's a very simple change of changing the big O into a little o, well, simple, done, bong. Well, ta-da, you get the idea. So I've jumped in, I've put my buy order down, I put 66 quantity, and hopefully I will be buying these for cheap. If someone were to list them at a cheap price. But yeah, if I click lifetime, well, that's all you can see because it's only recently become a new market page because technically speaking, this is a completely new entity. I think we've got this addressed now. But then again, hang on a minute. There's also a Strange version, isn't there? So I've got to check that. Type in Strange, space, enter, and yes. And of course, I did my buy order as well. So yeah, I've already attacked this. I knew how this worked. I've jumped in. I've done my buy orders. And as time goes on, maybe chances are I will be picking these up for a cheap price and doing an instant profit. Simple as. And of course, let's just do unusual as well. So yeah. New entity. Old one will be phased out eventually. So yeah, the original Strange of Thought. Yep. And then, of course, we do have to wait for the likes of Strange Unusual as well, which might take some time. It might take some time. But then again, remember, when we have the holiday events, when we see limited time unusual effects, people are more likely going to open the cases, and you're more likely going to see more of them, and you get the idea. But the main thing that's probably to our interest was the likes of the Hypno-Eyes. This is a fairly expensive item. So the old one had the little e, and the big one... Wait, hang on a minute, I've got mixed up here. Which one's the right one? The one with the big E is the new one. Yep. And the one with the little e is the old one. So you might sit there and say, okay, what happens if I have a buy order on the old one? You probably want to remove it. And you might be a little bit confused here. It says it's the big E one here. No. Always check the URL. This is the one with the little e. So yeah, if I should remove the buy order, it's gone, because no listing will ever be this ever again. That's not going to happen ever again. So I got a good idea of what the price was on average, and then I went over to here, put my buy order down, and I've put down a £16.65 buy order of 15 quantity, which is to the equivalent of $20.60. And that's because I know on average these tend to sell for around $30, and I think I could pick one up, and then if I do, I'll sell it for an instant $10 profit. Simple as. So yes, I made the move. But there's one thing that we're still waiting for, and that's the strange Hypno-Eyes. So this might take a few days, it might take a few weeks, maybe even months, but this is what I'm currently chasing after. There is still yet to be a listing. You might see that there's listings of the old one, yep, but remember, all you have to do, if it's a simple change, just big E and ta-da. That's as simple as it's got. That's it. Easy peasy. So yeah, that's something that you should be aware of in the future, and hopefully you know how to act. And as you can see here, I've pretty much done everything. And on another account as well. I've got other buy orders, so yeah, you get the idea. So yeah, that's basically it. That's a lesson to be learned. This happens with all Valve games. So basically, when we see maybe a name change with a CSGO skin, yes, that would happen. I mean, the stat track AWP duality is pretty much the best example. What happened recently to the likes of the recent DMCA art that happened with the old AWP. They changed, what was it called? I can't remember properly. It was the dragon, wasn't it? And they realised it was copied, it was traced. So they changed it with this duality. All I had to do was just write in duality, and then today I got the link, and then yeah, I did the buy order. So yeah, basically the same things do happen with TF2, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens with Dota 2 as well. Thank you for watching this. I hope this was insightful. I hope you understand and learn something. And there's an extra little thing that I want to talk to you about. Gentlemen, it is currently April, and next month is the end of all of the workshop submissions for the summer update. So don't forget to keep an eye on all of the Team Fortress 2 submissions. As you can see there, I typed in Team Fortress 2, went to the Team Fortress 2 Workshop page. I hover and browse, click items, and then of course we can see all of these most popular. Remember, you should probably be looking at most recent to see all the newest ones. But if you more specifically want to see cosmetics and unusual effects and war paints that are intended to be for the summer, I look down to the right, I click the summer tag, and now I see all of them. So yeah, just browse through all of them. Hey, you know what? This looks pretty cool. This hat on the spy looks really nice. I'm going to vote yes for it. I'm going to show you my support. So yeah, pick out the things that you like, show your support, and maybe, just maybe, we will see some of these very interesting and nice looking cosmetics being accepted. But don't forget, you can also add more tags. I want to see all of the unusual effects that are intended to be for the summer. Now, some of them might be questionable. But then, you know, some of the... I mean... Keep a straight face. What about this? What about this? That looks cool. That looks cool. Yeah, let's vote for that. Lesson learned, all right? Lesson learned. So if you ever see a small update like this ever again, always just go check the Team Fortress 2 wiki, and you look at the patches, and you might notice that there are some more undocumented, let me just say that again, undocumented changes. And if you're potentially the first person to be aware of it, you're potentially the first person to put a buy order down for all the new potential unusuals and strange, and you get the idea. So yeah, potential great money to be made if you're the person with the buy order priority. Thank you for watching. Have a good day, and don't forget to support the people on the workshop. They're making a lot of very nice, interesting cosmetics and war paints and unusual effects. And, you know, we want to see, show your support. You get it. All right, catch you later. See ya. Goodbye.